Oarsman, I found the flowers you were looking for.
You did?
I think I did.
You did indeed. My dear boy, thank you.
You wanted to make Dion a gift of one, did you not? Shall I invite him to join us?
Oh, I don't...
It's no trouble. I'll go and fetch him.
Is he my taking?
Your Highness, would you do me the honor of accompanying me?
Now. It is time, then.
No, only to the shelves. Our lawsman has something he'd like to give you.
Master Harpocrates. No. I dare not show my face before him, not after everything I have done. I have taken countless innocent lives, and ruined countless more, all because I was weak. I have sworn to atone for my crimes or die in the attempt, but were I to meet with him again, and see in his eyes what I have become, I fear that my resolve might falter.
Then that is all the more reason to do it. Test your resolve. Prove to yourself, and to him, how strong it truly is.
You are right. I must, at the very least, offer him my gratitude. Very well, then. Take me to him.
Follow me.
Even now, I hesitate to approach him. What must he think of me?
You'd be surprised.
Master Harpocrates, pray, accept my apologies for leaving your tutelage before my studies were complete. Your lessons opened my mind to a world quite unlike the one I had imagined from within the gilded confines of the palace. And I shall be forever grateful for the efforts you made to enlighten me.
Lift up your head, Your Highness. The deeds of youth require no apology. That you took the time to visit me says much about the man you have become. Now, there is something I would like to show you.
Is that a wyvern tail? The color is unfamiliar to me.
Because it is unique to those found in the wild. Something in the harsh environment in which they grow lends them this striking hue. Their roots are indistinguishable from those of their hothouse cousins, but once they bloom, the difference is immediately apparent. In this flower, I see you, Your Highness. Its roots were the roots of a wyvern tail, with all that implies. But they do not define it, just as yours do not define you. I want you to have it, that it might remind you of this truth.
Master Harpocrates, I would ask of you a service. Keep your gift until I have fulfilled my duty to the realm, for only then shall I be deserving of it.
As you wish, Your Highness. I shall await your return.
Our roots do not define us. No wonder my stepmother didn't like him. For reuniting me with memories I had thought long lost. I shall not forget this.
Thank you, Clive. Were it not for you, I fear I might never have found the right moment to speak with him. Not to mention the wyvern tales. I shall plant their seeds, that I might not disappoint His Highness upon his return.
I hope the soil in the hideaway is to their liking.
Why, these flowers bloomed in the bleak, black wastes of Waloed. I'm sure Nigel's yard will suit them to a T. When it comes to expressing one's gratitude, I find that words are seldom sufficient. Here.
What's this?
A stolas quill. Or more precisely, my stolas quill. 'Tis said that an owl's feathers are steeped in the wishes it hears over its long lifetime. All those words just waiting to pour out onto the page. So consider this my wish for you. That one day you may put down your sword and pick up that pen.
Well, when that day comes, I'll certainly have a lot to write about. Thank you, Harpocrates. It shall have pride of place in my chamber.
Say what you will, Lady Karen has seen our
Tell me this is all you need.
Aw, you make it sound like I asked you to save the world or something.
Tell me this is all you need.
It's most of what I need. After you left, I went over the figures again, and I realised I'd forgotten a 1, and a 0, and a cogwheel. Just a tiny one. Though, that's the problem. Gears that small are a bastard to make, and I may have lost the one Blackthorn spent a fortnight toiling over.
Wait, the children. When they took apart your scales, there was a tiny brass gear. Now that I think about it, they didn't use it when we put the scales back together.
The young'uns? But why would they... You know what? I don't want to know. I'll keep working on the model.
Has Midadol mentioned a new project yet?
Sid! Is Mid still hiding from us?
She wasn't hiding. She's fine. She's just busy working on her next project.
A new invention? What is it? What is it? Is it an airship?
Do you think she'll let us help?
That just so happens to be why I'm here. She needs something special, something only you three can provide. A brass gear. A tiny one. One that might fit on, say, a set of scales.
Oh, the one you forgot!
We saved it, just in case.
Since your lesson, we've been disassembling, then reassembling everything we can find. All the pieces that are left over, we keep under our beds, just in case.
That's good to know.
Look! I found it! Is that all? Just the gear? We have more parts if Mid needs them.
That's all for now. But I'll let Mid know about your hoard. Just in case.
Thanks, Sid.
Well, did they have it?
They did. And they kept it somewhere nice and safe. Will it work?
Will it work? He's perfect! You're a genius, Clive.
What exactly are you going to use it for?
Only the most important job of all. The wings aren't going to move on their own. But with the right cog in the right place... Well, you just wait and see. That should do it. Here goes nothing. Titan's tits.
It wasn't supposed to fly, was it?
Of course it was supposed to fly. Wouldn't be much of an airship if it didn't. Honestly, these bloody engines are driving me mad. I was so sure this would be the day she soared. The Mithril engine was made to make dreams come true. But maybe this is one dream the world's better off without. Show folk how to take flying. It won't be long till they're raining death down on each other. People will lose their homes, children, their mums and their dads. Like I lost mine.
I'm sorry.
So am I, Clive. So am I. Sorry that I have to choose. Do I follow my head, or do I follow my heart?
Good question. first time I stood on the deck of your ship, felt the wind in my hair. It was like I was flying, but imagine how it would feel to actually do it.
My dad always said there were two ways of living life. Chasing a dream or shuffling to your grave. And he were right. Right about a lot of things. Not that I like to admit it. People need dreams to chase. Especially in a world like this. Right. When this is over, I'm gonna take all my mithril engines to Zemeckis and sling them over the edge. I won't have my dream end up turning into someone else's nightmare.
But all that hard work...
All that hard work will not be used for war, Jamie. But it ain't like it'll be gone. Tell me, Clive, have you ever been on a treasure hunt?
Not since Joshua and I were boys. Why do you ask?
Because I'm going to bury the engine schematics and leave behind a little riddle telling people where to find them. A really hard one, so that only the most dedicated dreamers will ever be able to work it out. Ooh, I can picture it now. Some daft general squinting at the words with a gormless expression on his mug. Like that one, yeah.
Right.
Of course, if I'm putting this engine at the end of a treasure hunt, I'll still need to make it a treasure worth hunting for. Won't be much of a prize if it couldn't even make a toy boat fly after all. My dad always said, dream big. But it ain't the size of a dream that's important, is it, Clive? Only that it's a good one. And I reckon I've got a fair few good uns left in me.
I'm sure you do.
mentioned a new project.
You should have... Welcome back, Sid.
Welcome back, Sid.
Yes. Welcome back. Trip wasn't too much of a pain in the arse, I hope. Truth be told, it was me who suggested roping you in to help with the trial. But from what I hear, things didn't go quite as planned.
No, they most certainly did not. Ember lost his nerve in the face of a beast of prey, but he didn't lose heart. He pressed on, and he achieved his aim. And is that not what we ask of our scouts?
Indeed it is. Thank you for your honest appraisal, Sid. The fact remains, however, that Ember will not always have a battle-hardened warrior on hand to pluck him from the jaws of peril. All I have gleaned from this trial is that without someone watching his back, Ember is little more than a liability.
Wait, Sergeant. Ember still has much to learn, it's true. And this time he was found wanting. But I'd say he's due a second chance, nonetheless. After all, he did do as you asked.
With a bit of hard work, any hand can be made to hold a blade, and any mind can conquer its fears. But a scout's nose is different. You've either got one, or you ain't. And by sniffing out that log, young Ember here has shown he has a conch and a half. Wouldn't do to waste it now, would it?
Fine. One more chance.
I'll do whatever you ask. I'll spend my days and nights in the pit if I have to. I'll show you. Just you wait.
Daft as a brush, that one. But his heart's in the right place. Just like someone else we know. And if you ask me, we've been leaning on him for far too long. That time the curse breakers took some of the weight off his shoulders, I reckon.
It couldn't hurt.
Just don't tell Gav I said so, will you? I won't have him thinking he's been hard done by. Next thing you know, he'll be asking for a day off. Chance would be a fine thing. Back to work.
Forgive me, Sid. This did not play out as I expected.
Things rarely do these days. But that's why we need men like Ember more than ever. Men who can make the best out of a bad situation. Remember that.
I will, Sid. Thank you.
There's something about...
Uncle, I bring good news. The Field Marshal has agreed to your plan.
Of course he has. I didn't doubt you for a moment, dear boy.
Rutherford is accompanying him back to your manor in Porter's Alder as we speak. They will await your return there. As will one other.
One other? Who, exactly?
Lord Havel was concerned that even if he could get the realm's armies to agree to an accord, he might not be as successful in convincing those with political power. He asked if I might have a solution. And I suggested a certain Imperial Lord Magistrate turned Liberator.
One of your co-conspirators?
Master Quinton would probably call me one of his. But yes.
Another outlaw, then. Just the thing we need to put these rotten politicos in their places. Good thinking, Clive.
I'm glad you approve.
The more the merrier.
Uncle, assuming Havel and Quinton can solve our problem with the armies, you still haven't mentioned how we might manage the grain shortages.
Oh, don't you worry, my boy. The 7 high houses will be seeing to that. They have all agreed to make the most generous of donations. Oh, of course, it did take a little persuasion, but luckily I had some unexpected help.
From who?
Why, you, my boy. Rumor has it that you rescued the Lady Ariane's head steward Rockford from a horde of bloodthirsty bandits.
It was more of a handful.
Well, the old battle axe was so pleased, she had a shipload of talents delivered to my private docks by the next new moon. And when the other houses saw the parsimonious old crone's purse strings finally loosen, they as good as tripped over themselves in the rush to follow suit.
I'm happy to hear it.
Now, I must be getting back to the manor. Join us there at your earliest convenience, would you?
Of course, Uncle.
And how, pray tell, will we get that grain to the capital if the roads are still overrun with akashic?
You'll find another bloody road. I only have so many men, and I'm not about to send them headlong into an ether flood. That is, unless you'd have them turn as well.
Well, I'd certainly eat less.
Says the man with a belly bigger than a band of curls. My soldiers actually need their rations. Without any food to keep them going, they'll be dead even before you've sent them on your fool's errand.
If I may, gentlemen, perhaps I might suggest an alternative approach. Though supply routes are indeed disrupted, there is no shortage of ships. Indeed, they bob away in every bay from here to Randalar, awaiting a safe haven. Allow them to make port and fill their bellies full of grain. And once those who crowd the cities are fed, ferry the displaced back to the countryside to work the fallow fields. But I'm sure that you wish to continue your discussion. Forgive the interruption. Two such firm friends as yourselves need no help from the likes of me. Rutherford spoke fondly of the great bond between you.
Us? Friends?
I can't stand the man.
Clive, I'm beginning to question the quality of the company you keep.
And what kind of company are you expecting him to keep? The man's a criminal.
Criminal? How dare you? You are not fit to breathe the same air as this fine, upstanding young gentleman.
Upstanding? He calls himself Sid the Bloody Outlaw.
Once more onto the breach.
Shall we begin again? What we seek here is not to create a new nation, nor to claim the thrones of those that already exist. We wish simply to bring stability to the realm that mankind might weather the current storm. And to do that, we must convince those in power, the generals, the statesmen, the nobles, that our cause is just. There will be disagreements, yes, and I imagine some resistance, much resistance. But we cannot let that deter us. If we show them the path, show them that we walk it ourselves, then I am confident they will follow. The fate of the world lies in my nephew's hands, but the well-being of her people lies in ours. And we must not squander the chance that Clive has given us.
Uncle Byron,
Now, with that settled, let's move on to the signing of the accord. For what great moment in history hasn't been accompanied by a little ceremony? Citizens of Valisthea, I present to you the Triunity. Rutherford, Mike Will. Well, my boy, the stage is set.
That it is.
This is the role you were born for. Now I ask only that you trust in the talents of your supporting cast. We shall play our parts to the best of our abilities, that you might have the opportunity to shine. The realm needs its Sir Crandall, and there is no better Crandall than you, Clive. I want you to keep this signed accord as proof of our faith in you.
I will. Thank you, Uncle.
What do you think that thing is?
You all right?
Something troubling you?
It's just... Eda's baby will be coming soon, and I wanted to make something for it.
I'm sure she'd like that.
Back in the north, families would always make gifts when a bairn was on the way. Let the little tykes know they were welcome in their new homes, like.
So, what's the problem?
Well, the problem is that Eda's due any day now, and I don't know if I'll be ready in time.
Is there anything I can do to help?
You know, there just might be.
All right, then. What exactly are we making?
A good luck charm. But not just any good luck charm.
Not just any.
No. One made from the feather of a silver chocobo. There's naught lucky in all the realm. Thing is, they're hard to come by. Had Otto and Karen check with their suppliers, but nothing. I'd try and track one down myself, only...
Only the big day is fast approaching. And that's all you need, a feather.
That or the bird whose horse it's attached to, aye. I was gonna start by asking around with travelling traders plying the northern borders.
Well, there's no shortage of those passing through Martha's. I think I might make that my first port of call. I'll let you know if I find anything.
You're a good friend, Clive. I won't forget this.
Let's hope one of the merchants here has what Gav needs. Excuse me.
Oh.
A silver chocobo feather.
Oh, or maybe not. Though you're not the first to mention the bird around here. There was a man stopped by the rest not long ago claiming he was attacked by a silver chocobo near some gutted hovel not far from Eastpool. Most took him for a braggart.
We'll see.
Just because the heavens have gone to Wreckaroo, it don't mean we have to.
How do, traveller? You've the look of a man who could do with a new whetstone. Or perhaps a bawdy etching of the Vicerine.
Maybe another time. I'm looking for a silver chocobo feather.
If that's the case, rumours are all you're likely to find. No one has seen a silver chocobo for years. Word is they were all hunted for their feathers. Some northern nonsense about bringing good luck. Didn't bring them much. If any are still out there, I reckon they'll be doing their damnedest not to be discovered.
You're probably right. Thank you anyway.
It doesn't still hurt, does it?
Oh, 1,000.
Can I help you with something?
You wouldn't happen to sell silver chocobo feathers, would you?
I deal in fruit, not fancies. But if it's fancies you're after...
Was a silver chocobo seen there?
Oh, yes. If you believe the ravings of a madman.
It wouldn't be the first time. A silver chocobo sighted in the hills near Rhiannon's Run. Come on.
Caution, brother.
Tracks. They're not left by bandits for a change. Time to fight. More tracks. And these look fresh. chocobo was here. And recently. I don't hear anything. Well, I'll be damned. It's all right. I'm not going to hurt you. Just borrowing a feather for my friend. Thank you. Let's get this back to Gav before they change their minds.
It was no trouble.
Clive, you're back. How'd you get on? Any luck?
Any luck, you say?
Crystal's crack. Is this what I think it is? Where in the hell did you find it?
It's a long story.
Right there on the road to Eastpool.
Everything up there's been abandoned for years. The empty cabin made for the perfect shelter. Though I fear my presence may have forced the poor creatures to look elsewhere.
Don't blame yourself, Clive. The Blight's right on Eastpool's doorstep. They'd have had to move on before long, even if you hadn't have turned up. They'll find a new home. After all, that's what us endangered animals do. Anyway, what matters is, you managed to nick us one of their quills before they could run off. And now all that's left is to fix it to the carving.
I didn't know you could carve.
Reckon there's a lot you don't know about me. Like the fact I'm as good with a whittling knife as I am with a sword. And that bone Ember gave me's a dream to work with. What did you say it was from again? An Avis?
But it weren't your Avis, Sid. I slew one of my own at last.
So all those long nights in the pit finally bore fruit. I'm proud of you, Ember.
Don't speak too soon. I ain't done my trial yet.
There we go. What do you think?
I think if you ever hang up your scouting cap, you'll be able to make an honest living.
Oh, will I? I should go and see if Ed is awake.
Give it my best.
You can give it to yourself.
Me lords.
How are you feeling?
Well, thank you. Is something wrong?
Wrong? No, nothing like that. What it is...
Go on, please. It's beautiful. Did you make it?
We did. It's from all of us here at the Hideaway. Your new family, like. It's a good luck charm. We may come up north when a bairn's on the way. I mean, a baby. To let him know that they're part of the family too. Oh, I hope you like it.
I don't know what to say. I thank you, my lords, for everything.
If there's anything you need, just let us know.
I will.
Clive, fancy a swift off? I'm thirsty.
I could be convinced. Don't you think you've had enough?
No, we're celebrating. I'm gonna be a father.
I think Edda might have something to say about that.
You know what I mean. Bit of light in these dark times. Wasn't long after me 10th name day, my mum told us she was with child again. I was over the fucking moon. I was looking forward to having a little one to lord it over, what with me being the runt of the litter. Thought I'd finally have a chance to prove to the world that I could be a big brother. Imperials came the day she went into labour. Had myself a baby sister, and then I didn't. My whole family gone in a blink, while I hid in the cellar like the spineless little arsehole I was. Great brother I turned out to be. I'll never be a leader. And I'll never be a hero. I'm just a daft little dog who comes running when his master calls. I'll never be like you, or Sid, or Jill, or even Torgal.
Have you finished?
Maybe.
Do you know why you're our best scout? Because you don't need anyone to hold your hand. Without your resourcefulness, your courage, your determination, I don't know where we'd be. Maybe hanging off a cliff like,
That was only the once.
Exactly. You learned from it. And here you are after Founder knows how many missions, stronger for everyone. And let's not forget Rosalith. Who was it who freed me from the dungeon? Who was it who ran to Jill's rescue?
That would be me.
Because you're our brother, Gav. My brother.
Your brother.
Which means that when the time comes,
I get your room. And your sword. I may have had one too many.
You may have had 10 too many.
I said I was thirsty. Better get back to work anyway. After I walk this off. Clive?
What is it?
Thanks for, you know.
I know.
One of these days, I swear it's gonna be me who drinks you under the table.
If by under the table you mean retching on my boots half the night, I reckon one of those days was yesterday.
Ha ha. You think you're so funny, but just wait till we crack open the bottle I left in your chambers. That stuff's strong enough to burn the horns off a behemoth.
Sounds like I'll be needing some new boots.
Do you think they'll come back?
Of course they will. It's just a little crystal. How hard could it be?
Joshua, I read your message. You're right. Jill is different. I don't think I'd realized how different, but since we returned from Drake's spine, I felt it more and more.
I suppose it's not hard to imagine why.
She doesn't think she belongs anymore.
And that's why we need to remind her she is still one of us. To let her know that we still need her, now more than ever. That you still need her. But how to do that? When last we were truly close, we were but children.
Of course. Do you remember the time we accompanied Father on his annual tour of the Duchy? And Jill and I broke from the procession to ride up Man's Hill.
To see the snow daisies, I remember. It was the first time Father had allowed us to join him. And when he realized you were missing, he had the entire retinue down to the pot boys combing the countryside.
In the rain. A thunderstorm forced us to take refuge in a grove of oaks before we'd even made it halfway there. It was the Lord Commander who finally found us, and needless to say, he was none too pleased.
Then it seems you and Jill have unfinished business. What do you say?
Man's Hill. It's not that far.
Oh, true. Though I suspect it is also much changed. Little in southern Rosaria remains as it was when we were children.
You're saying I should go and scout the area for bandits?
I'm saying we should first go and see if there are actually still any snow daisies left. What would you do without me, Clive?
This is the place, but...
I'm sorry, Clive.
There's nowhere been spared. What do we do now?
We keep looking. Man's Hill cannot be the only place where snow daisies grow.
Perhaps, but it's the only place I know of. Knew of.
Then why not ask someone who might know of another?
Someone in the backyard? To the hideaway, then. Let's hope one of the gardeners knows where to find snow daisies.
Say what you will, Lady Karen is seen.
Oh. What brings you down from the heavens, Sid?
I need your advice. Joshua and I are looking for a place where snow daisies grow. Preferably in abundance.
Snow daisies. Then you'll want somewhere not too hot and not too cold. And where the winds are strong enough to carry the seeds. I reckon Man's Hill would be a good place to start. There in the Royal Meadows, perhaps? Both have similar climbs and the right elevation. If the Blight hasn't claimed them yet.
Right. Thank you.
Did you learn where we might find our flowers?
The gardener here mentioned the Royal Meadows in Sembrak.
The fields beyond Northreach. Well, if that's the case, then Yote was right. I recalled that she kept a record of our travels, you see. So I asked her if she'd perhaps noted anywhere that snow daisies grew, and she mentioned Oilefeist Bay.
Whose shores border the meadows. Off we go then.
And how might I help the garrison today?
Let's go. Fly, Ambrosia. The meadows are vast. Where do we even start?
Yote mentioned the coastline. We can start there.
Look, brother.
Do you see them?
I do. The flowers. And our friends. What do you see, boy? Let's hope this is the last one.
Only one way to find out.
Nice try. That was harder than I expected. But Founder, it was worth it. They're beautiful.
Do you think Jill will like them?
She'll love them. Come on. Let's go.
It appears my work is done. The rest, as they say, is up to you. Well, you and the skies. We wouldn't want another thunderstorm now, would we?
Aye, it's a dangerous world out there.
You'll not find a better price than that.
What can I get you, Sid? Well. Drink up, you lot. The next round's on Sid. Oh, keep your mug handy. You look like you could do with a drink. That's what we like. Knock 'em back, everyone. Sid's buying. Oh, you're not leaving already, are you? Welcome back, Sid. Honestly, Sid, you're too nice for your own good. Do you hear that, ladies and gents? The next round's courtesy of the realm's most benevolent outlaw. Oh, keep your mug handy.
Jill, there's something I'd like to show you.
There is? And where might this something be?
It's, not here. Now, I know this is sudden, but how would you fancy a trip to Oriflamme?
There are so many. This is what you wanted to show me. I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. The smile on your face is enough. We've been worried about you, Joshua and I. Do you remember when I took you to Man's Hill? Or tried to?
How could I forget? You saw me crying and thought a change of scenery might lift my spirits. In the end, it earned me a nasty cough and a stern scolding from your mother. But I felt wonderful nonetheless.
I'm sorry. I had no idea what I was getting us both into. But I couldn't bear to see you like that.
Before we left, my chambermaid told me she'd overheard your mother talking about my marriage prospects with some of the noblewomen at court. They were debating whether it would be more profitable to marry me off to one of the high houses instead of saving me for the ducal line. No one thought to ask me what I wanted. I was nothing to them. A pawn at best. I felt so trapped, so lonely.
I didn't know.
But I wasn't alone. You were there. Your hand in mine as we ran for those oaks. And I knew then, no matter what happened, I would be all right. I'll never forget that feeling. Before we broke camp, the morning after the storm, do you know what I did?
No? What?
I slipped away from my governess to climb the tor. And from there I saw a sea of petals, all reaching for the sun. And I realized that no matter how terrible the night, dawn would always come. That you would always come for me. And you have. Again and again.
Where do you see us? When all this is over?
I don't know. Not here, though. I think I've outgrown the twins. After everything we've been through, the realm just seems so small. I'll need some space to spread my wings.
Then that's what you'll have. And I'll stop at nothing to see that you do.
I never was much good at garlands, but it'll have to do.
I'll treasure it forever.
Thank you, Clive. For this, the flowers, for everything. It's exactly what I needed. You are my treasure. We should probably be getting back. I expect the others are wondering where we are.
You're right. There's still much to do.
And we'll do it together.
There's something about it.
Yes, my lord? I prithee do not risk yourself unduly.
Ties teased.
Clive, I wanted to give you something for the kindness you showed my mentor.
What's this?
A chest of all the medicines you're ever likely to need. Seeing as you're so reluctant to come to the infirmary, I thought you might as well take a part of the infirmary with you.
I'm sure it will be very helpful indeed. And Taya, try not to work too hard.
And work Rodrigue all the harder, you mean? He's a quick study, but he's got a long way to go yet. I'll take that particular piece of advice when you heed it yourself, thank you very much. Besides, who else is going to see that your brother takes his medicine?
Who indeed?
Knowledge hoarded is knowledge lost. You wish to study the tomes? Did you learn everything you needed?
Make sure you do this time. Oh, and while you're at it... Clive, if you see me dad up there, tell him we were right to leave his legacy with you.
Tell him he'll be in the front row. There's no way he'd miss this. Well, behave yourself, Mitt.
We'll see.
So, you're in charge now, Gav.
And what does Taya have to say about that? Come back before she finds out, eh?
Thank you, Yote. I'm sorry.
Your Grace, I shall pray for your safe return.
That's kind of you. But you should pray he took his medicine. I didn't spend all night grinding herbs for his lordship to leave them on his nightstand. Again.
You needn't fear, Lady Taya. And thank you.
See that your brother comes back in one piece. Or, at most, two. Any more and you can heal him yourself.
I'll keep that in mind.
Well, there's nothing to say that hasn't already been said. But that's never stopped me before, so just you do what needs doing. And don't worry about us.
We'll do our best, Uncle.
That we will.
If that is all?
Not quite. Jill.
It's time, isn't it?
It is. Take care of him. You take care of her too, boy.
Don't forget, Clive. We all choose our own path. Believe in yours. I do.
I'll be back. I promise. I love you, Jim.
I know. I love you too.
Now, we have a god to kill.
Here they come! Hold on, Joshua! Already am! To make us a way in. So, this is Origin.
A far cry from heaven.
Where it all began, where it all begins, our ark, your architect.
There you are.
It was here that we slumbered, here that we waited for centuries, clinging to our decrepit shell, for fear that we might have need of it once again. But you have come at last. And now we shall be truly complete.
Well? There's 3 of us, and 1 of him. Let's make it count.
Dominance. We will show you what it means to suffer. surrendered, this unpleasantness could have been avoided.
Clive! Clive! No. Thank the Founder.
Did I mention you look terrible?
That makes two of us.
Oh, I'll be alright.
And Dion. Take my hand.
No, I told you, I'll be...
Come on.
Thank you.
press on.
Always.
I'm sorry about Dion.
Don't be. Please. He did what he had to do.
And it's time we did the same. Should we stop?
Because of the cough. No, I think we're past that, Clive.
I suppose we are.
That light, so cold, so empty. We're close, aren't we?
It, seems that way. But I don't want to think what could be waiting for us in there.
Then think instead of those waiting for us at home. Clive.
They can't be.
But they are. This is the Nexus. A wellspring of life. Yours and ours. As we watch the world stumble slowly to its dark end, it was here we pledged a new beginning. And now, with the ether we have harvested, I shall raise my kin from their eternal slumber, that together we may usher in a new age of reason.
This was never about creation, only self-preservation. You condemned an entire world so that you alone might escape death.
Alone. Him. Alone. Clive. I think I understand. He...
They sacrificed their flesh to become beating hearts of crystal that pumped the land's lifeblood from the depths of the earth unto this very chamber. And thus would they labor still, long after their work was done, had you not set them free.
You meant for us to destroy the mother crystals. It's what you wanted all along.
You have our gratitude, Mythos. In this you have served us well. You have both served us well. Welcome home, brother.
Joshua.
I thought it was me, but it wasn't my grasp.
that grew weaker. It was theirs that grew stronger.
Joshua! No!
And now we can become one.
Clive. Don't speak. The one possessed of the destructive flames of Ifrit and the healing flames of the Phoenix. This, I once believed, would be Ultima's true form. But I was wrong. I see it now. Why you will never become Ultima's vessel.
I don't care. Just hold on.
Listen to me, Clive. You remember the murals? People once knew that Ultima was their god. That he created them. And they worshipped him, prayed to him, looked to him for guidance. In vain. In vain. For he did not listen, did not acknowledge our will, and so we strayed from his path to forge one of our own. So absorbed was he in his own desires, so driven by his own will alone, that he shunned the one thing that could have made him truly powerful. Faith. The same faith people now place in you. Faith that you will fulfill their dream, Sid's dream, of creating a better world for us. Faith that you will follow in Father's footsteps and save those who need saving most. Faith that you will answer Jill's plea to save yourself. The difference is, Clive, that you chose to listen, and that is what has steeled our bonds. Bonds that helped you stand firm when Ultima's pull was at its strongest. His power may be absolute, but so is ours. And so will yours be. With my light in your heart, not even a god might stop us.
Joshua! Don't do it, you'll...
Enough, Clive. My body is too far gone. If the wound does not take me, the curse will.
Look at me, Joshua.
Open your eyes! Open your eyes, Damien! Why? Why did you do this? Don't you... Joshua!
And thus does the final piece fall into place. The incantation primed, but one task remains: to empty the vessel.
Still here. With me to the end.
Even now, you would deny the inevitable.
That's what you always have. And always will. On this, my sword, I swear, to shield the Firebird's flame forevermore.
Centuries have I waited for this moment in which I might revel in my creation, only to find it profaned and so it must be cleansed.
So easily broken.
But it can be broken. And I shall see it so. For such is my will.
Try it.
This is the work of my will. these flames, I sense more here than mere will. Is this Logos? Have you truly become free? No, I forbid it. You are not a god. You are but flesh and bone. You are not one of us. I created you, all of you. And what is mine is mine to destroy.
Once, perhaps. But we are no longer yours. Our flames are our own, and they burn as one!
is inviolable. Something is wrong.
You're afraid. You always have been. From the moment the Blight exposed what you were, weak, you conceived us to prove otherwise. But the results shook you to the core. For in us you saw yourself, and realized we had the potential to be more than you could ever be, and so you turned your back on your creation. Your back on the world, like the coward you are.
You think you know me? You know nothing, Logos. Nothing. Bathed in light, I stand above you, my rebirth complete. And you, for your defiance, shall pay the proper price. An eternity of anguish.
Anguish. Pain, suffering. You have known none of these. But we have. So we know what they grant. They bring us together. And that makes us strong.
Thunder roars! My will be done.
the eyes that look down upon you all!
And yet still you cannot see. You are no better than us. We are one and the same. We are not the same. No man might stand beside me. None. Found your God.
Witness my creation!
place atop the world. You refused to acknowledge those below. You chose to remain alone. And so you shunned the one thing that could have made you stronger. Pushed away the hands that could have raised you higher. I do not need you. You are anyone. And that is where we are different. I could not have made it here on my own. I carry with me the hopes and dreams of my brothers, my sisters. And it is they who will give me the strength to end your reign. I cannot end. fantasy here is yours, and we shall be its final witness. I said, it's over!
Tell me, what do you imagine will befall this world now that you have gained your precious freedom?
I honestly don't know. But I doubt it will be pretty. A sorry tale of sin and suffering, hardship and pain.
And it was for this that you fought so fiercely? Why?
It's who we are. We fight. We survive. We endure. We don't need a reason. We are imperfect creatures. When we stumble, we reach for a shoulder to lean on. When we fall, we stand back up. We see the horizon, ever out of reach, and still we march on. Certain the answers lie just beyond it, because that is our way.
My congratulations. Relish this victory, knowing that you have but delayed the inevitable. Your world is already dead. May you enjoy an eternity on its blackened husk.
It seems Ultima's power was too great for this vessel all along. But while I have it, perhaps I can use it to set things right. And see Ultima's legacy. Bearers, dominance, crystals, magic, consigned to the flames. Even if it means the end of me. These are our terms.
You the most beautiful thing.
He is, isn't he? What are you gonna call him?
Let me see, let me see. Oh, read little one. Got a smile for your Uncle Gav.
Not so loud, you bird.
What? I was only...
Shh, you're scaring him.
It's all right.
Oh.
A sky of scattered tears, 1,000 years apart. Should they fade, I will not be afraid of the dark.
If you need a rest, I can take him.
I'll
It's yours now. Yours to do with as you please. That's what Sid wanted. That's what they both wanted.
And thus did our journey end.
Oh. Every time.
Will you light it?
Yes, Mother. Come on. If only I had the flames of an Eikon.
Eikon? Have you been reading that silly story again? Magic belongs in fairy tales, and fairy tales don't boil kettles. You see? Well done. Now, be a good lad, and play with your brother until supper.
Come on, hurry! Hurry! All right. Right, let's play the Saint in the Secretary. No, I don't want to be Madhu. What do you want to play then? War of the Eikons! Again? Well, right. And I get to be Ifrit. Right, I'm the older brother. Because Bahamut says so.